A warm welcome and a heartfelt namaste to one and all. Today we have Chandrasekharji again with us, starting with round 6 of Jaimini Updesham. Sir, a warm welcome and a heartfelt namaste once again to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Anuradha. It is always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, today what are we going to learn in this video?
Yeah, in this video, what we are going to do, we have seen the Karakas, we have seen the Argalas. Now we are looking at, are Karakas the only Karakas told by Jaimini? See, generally what is assumed is Jaimini means only Karaka.
Okay.
I mean, at least this is what I have experienced. People think that Karaka is Jaimini. No, he has also talked about Sthira Karaka, the fixed Karaka, the natural Karakas. So there are many type of Karakas. There are Paraspar Karakas. There are so many. And so we are now going to look at what are his thoughts about the Sthira Karaka and the Naisargik Karaka.
Right.
Some people might think that what Jaimini is saying is something different from what is said by Parashara, or it is called Parashari. It is a traditional system, the system of the sages. Let us put it like this: the Pravartakas. I would enjoin upon people to read the text properly, the traditional text, and they will find that it is mentioned there. Why we don't remember it? The reason is different. That we will perhaps talk when we are taking up the first slide, which is, I think, the Sthira and Bhavakarakas.
Right, sir.
So we are talking about natural Karakas, which is called Naisargika Karaka or Sthira Karaka, the permanent Karakas.
Right.
These are not the Charakaras. These are independent of the degrees advanced in the Rashi.
Right.
We have seen in Karakas, the higher the degrees, then you get the higher level of being a Karaka.
Yes, sir.
So we start with Sutra number 21, where it is said, Bhagyanyarartha Shala Kaniyana Jananicha. Now here there is always, see, sutras are very difficult. Asandhigdha, we call them that they are without any confusion, but they are capable of creating confusion in one's mind. So this has been interpreted in different manners. So Bhagini is very easy to understand, sister. Ara means Mars. So Mars is a Karaka for Bhagini, sisters. Shalaha, wife of, brother of spouse. Shala is, in Hindi we call it Sala. In Sanskrit we call it Shala. Then comes, this much is clear, this is not very difficult to understand because it is ultimately brother of the spouse. Here it is your own brother or sister, Bhagini is said. But it also contains, the brothers. This is my view because I think that this science is sex neutral unless specifically mentioned in the Stri Jataka. And so when we say Putra Karaka, that also means the Karaka for daughters. So this one must understand. So now the question comes, Kaniyana Jananicha. These are the next two words. Now this Kaniyan means the younger one. This has been translated by many as the younger brother. Because Bhagini comes first, so and then the brother-in-law comes. So what is thought is this is the younger brother. My understanding is either this Kanyana Janani is one word when it is the younger mother, which would mean the stepmother.
Okay.
This is one interpretation. I think Santanamji has also interpreted it like this in the Brihat Parashara commentary that he has made.
Okay.
Also, it would, which I think may be right, it could also mean on a lower level, it is also Karaka for mother. Because Kanyan is somebody after you, Kanishta. So somebody, because otherwise he would have used the word Anuja. Anuja is the younger brother. Isn't it? This is my contention. So now it is up to everybody to understand this. Why I'll tell later on when we go to the Sthira Karaka part. Because Mars in certain cases is considered to be a Karaka for mother also,
Right.
but not always. And there cannot be a conflict in two sutras of the same sage. So we have to combine them. So I think on a lesser level it can be Karaka for mother, or it could be the lesser mother, which means the stepmother. This is my understanding of it. I always say that I am also learning with you. Mm, I go on learning till the end of my life, and this is my wish that if I stop learning and I think I am great, then I'll forget everything. So this is Bhagyana Artha. So what is R? R means Mars represents sisters, brother-in-laws. Some say younger brother. I have a different opinion about it. And Janani. So some say younger brother and mother. I think it is either Kanyana Janani, which is the younger mother, which means the stepmother. Because in ancient time, see, ninth house was seen for the second wife of a person. Because she used to be like a sister to the spouse. Ninth is the third from the seventh bhava.
Right.
So it is quite possible that that is what is big, because this is basically talking about the relations which are like brothers or sisters.
Right.
If we go into depth of it, or try to unravel it, this is what it is indicating. So this is my interpretation. Why that Kanyana Janani is a lesser Karaka for Janani, that is spouse, will come at a later stage when that sutra appears as we go ahead. Then comes Matru. Then what happens after Mars comes? So we know what comes after Mars is Buddha, Mercury.
Right.
इथे मातुलादय बंधवो मातृ सजातीय इत्युरतः, which means he represents the maternal uncle, all those like mothers, that is aunts and others. And bandhavo doesn't mean brothers. Unfortunately, people always think bandhu means brothers. No, it means the clan people of your clan, or those who are close to you, or those with whom you associate on a regular basis.
Family members.
Bandhu. That is why fourth bhava is called bandhu bhava, and there is always confusion why bhratru bhava is third and fourth bhava is bandhu bhava. It is the clan where you feel you are safe. Let us put it this way: the fourth house always represents the
Security.
concept of safety for the Jataka, not for anybody else. So this is the Karakatva given to the Mercury. This is same as given by the traditional astrology also. Now comes the real complex one, and this has been interpreted in many ways. Pitamaha Pati Putra Viti Gurumukha Deva Janiyat, which means Pitamaha is the grandfather, especially on the father side, paternal side, Pati and Putra. All these are indicated by Guru. Guru is the Karaka for this. Here we must understand that Pati Karaka role will come when it is a chart of a female. Because here he is talking directly about Pati. Putra. We know that Guru is called the Putra Karaka.
Right.
What is additional is the Pitamaha, the grandfather. And Guru Mukha Deva Janya. That is the starting point for Guru. Guru covers all these things. Mukha has many meanings. One is somewhere from which, I mean, it also means your mouth. It means something where something ends or something which begins. This is related to the next sutra. So we have understood that what Mars indicates, we know. Now we know everything else. Now comes Patni Pitaro Shvisharo Mahamata Mata Maha Iti Antevasinaha. Now this Antevasinaha has been interpreted in so many different ways. I don't know what is right, but what I think I will say. Because he is talking about Guru Mukha Deva. So after Guru, whatever comes is being talked about here. This is my understanding of it. It might be right, it might be wrong. Some have interpreted it to mean as the planet next to Guru, which will mean the Venus. That is one of the way of looking at it. I think Patni Pitaro is father and mother of wife is very easy. That is your father-in-law
Right.
and mother-in-law.
Right.
Also talks about Shwashuru, because father-in-law and mother-in-law will be applicable to a female,
As
male
well.
child, whereas Shwashuru, that is the father-in-law and mother-in-law of the from the because you are married to somebody, some male. So for females it would be Shwashuru, isn't it?
Right.
Uh, if I am being very confusing, let me know, because Patni Pitaro will be whose Patni? The Jataka's Patni. So that has to be a male child.
Right.
Whereas when Shwashuru we are talking about, it is about the female of being a Jataka. For her, it will be. Then they say Mata Maha Ityati. Now, my contention is perhaps because Antevasina could be the last planets.
Right.
So the last planet is after Saturn comes Rahu. So what I think is from Rahu you should look at the in-laws and maternal grandparents, because though it says Mata Maha means the maternal grandfather. Mata Mahi means the maternal grandmother. When he is using Mata Maha, I think that is talking about the maternal grandparents. Those should be seen from Ketu. This is how I would look at it. As we go below, you will understand that yes, Venus is also talked about something, and people many times get confused, but there is no reason to get confused. This is my understanding. Some have interpreted it as Venus indicates all these things. Some have a different view. They think that this father-in-law and mother-in-law of both male and female are indicated by Venus, and Mata Maha is indicated by Rahu. So this is a matter of interpretation, but I think Rahu and Ketu are talked about when Ante Vasina is said, because they are these planets are called the Antyaja. Their caste is Antyaja. They are not Shudra. They are even below that.
Right.
So I think that Ante Vasina has more to do with the Antyaja, and that is why I take them to be Rahu and Ketu, which are being talked about.
Right, because they are, as you just said, that because they belong to the lower rank.
Lower down, even below Shudras. Basically, we have got only 4 Varnas. But they are even below that. They are called Antyaja.
Mlecha.
Mlecha, Antyaja, Buddha, so all those things are called for Rahu and Ketu.
Okay.
Mlecha is those of very distinctly different culture, certainly. Mlecha is there, but one of the caste of Rahu and Ketu is said to be Antyaja. Antyaja is those who are Chandals. That is why when Guru and Rahu are together, people say it is a Guru Chandala Yoga, not knowing that Chandal is also one of the names of Rahu. And so Guru Chandal Yoga is horrible and this person will not follow religion and all those things, I mean, are talked about. It's not so. It is just they are talking about Rahu and Guru to be being together. This Chandal, that is those who are on the funeral pyre, those people who do those things, they are called the Antyaja.
Okay.
So Rahu and Ketu are, so this is how I think is the interpretation of the Ante Vasina. So I want to make it clear so that it's not as if what I say is standard, because this is subject to and open to interpretation. There are many learned people who have interpreted it. In ancient time, it was Nilakantha, Balakrishnananda Saraswati, even our P.A. Shastri. In modern times, K.N. Rao is there, Sanjay Rath is there, and there are many. And everybody has his own views. This is mine. I mean, we should make it clear when this is how I have been taught to think about. Then comes Manda Jayana Graheshu. So Manda means, I mean, everybody knows Manda means Saturn. And they already said at the end of it, it will come Sarvatra Savarna Bhava Rashayascha. The Katapayadi is only to be applied to the Bhavas and Rashis and not to the Graha, na Graha.
Yes.
So Manda does mean Manda, that is Saturn. He is the weakest of the planet. That is what he said. And then even in this weakness, as usual, the learned have 2 views. One is the traditional views of Sun, Moon, Mars, and the last one is Venus, so he is the weakest. But then there is also Varaha Mihira's prescription of Sun, Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, and then Saturn. This is the order which Varaha Mihira follows.
Okay.
I would think personally, yeah, they are talking about Saturn only.
Okay.
Because he is strong in giving you life. When you talk about the Ayu calculation, then Saturn grants the maximum Ayu. But otherwise, he is supposed to be the weakest, and Sun is supposed to be the strongest amongst the planets. So he says he is the weakest amongst the planets. This is what is being told. Which means everything which is weak, my interpretation would be, because this has never been interpreted, it is only, commentaries generally talk about this. All those who are downtrodden are represented by Saturn, is how I would look at it. He is Karaka for all those downtrodden. Those who are Bhrutya, the servant in the king's cabinet, the sun's cabinet.
Right, sir.
We look at sun as a king, and then he has a cabinet in which Saturn happens to be the Bhrutya. Bhrutya means the servant, the lowest of the low.
Yes.
So I think because this is about Karakatva, he is talking about Karakatva of Manda as Karaka for the downtrodden. This is my understanding.
Okay.
And because there are so many learned people and everybody has his view, and I respect everybody. So now we shall go to the next slide, where suddenly now he talks about how counting is to be done. We know only one way of counting, which is the direct counting.
Right.
Isn't it? Generally in the traditional system. Now here comes Prachi Vrutti, Vishama Bheshu. Prachi is left to right. What he is talking about, as we have seen in the Rashi aspects, he is talking about the square chart, which is generally followed in the southern part of India. Isn't it? We have seen how those one Rashi will aspect another in front of it. That goes, no, this is a bit later. This comes a bit later. We first go with Pratirvrutti, Vishamabheshu. If the Rashi is an odd Rashi, then you count in the regular manner. So in the North Indian chart, we will count in the anti-clockwise way. In South Indian chart, we count, in the clockwise. That is from Mesha, it will go to Taurus, and then that Aries, Taurus, this order is to be followed. If whichever Rashi we are looking at for counting his Rashi Dasha, and there are many other things, like the Pada and other things. So he said this is how it should be counted. Paravrutyuttarashu. For other, which means the summer Rashis, the even Rashis, count in the reverse manner. Till this time, it is pretty simple. So the order will be from Pisces to Aquarius, and that's how we go. Because Pisces is a even Rashi.
Even sign, right.
If it is, say, Cancer, then you go to Cancer to Gemini, Gemini to Taurus. This is the order in which it should be counted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it can be from anywhere. So if I
from anywhere, if it is a summer Rashi, then count in the reverse direction.
So if the Lagna is Scorpio, then we move from Scorpio.
So you move from, that's all. But now comes the the Sandigdha, the complications. Now he says Nat Kvachita. This I always tell when I say interpretation of sutra is the most difficult. Though they say Alpaksharam Asandiddham Sarvato Vishwato Mukha. So they say it's very easy, it's in few words and there is no confusion. No, Nat Kvachita means sometimes it is not so.
So that
question is, what is not so? If this is given, so sometimes it is not so. When it is not so? Now there are two, as usual, there are two opinions. One says, for which there is a Vruddha Karika. That is why the Vruddha Karikas and even Bharat Parashar, Hora Shastra and other things have to be read to understand exactly what is this Nat Kvachita. So the Vruddha Karika talks about, I think the next one I have given, Kramat Vrushe Vrushikecha Vrus Kramat Kumbha Sihayo, which means if it is Taurus or Scorpio, you count in the regular direction, though they are even Rashis. See, so this is that Nakpachita, sometimes not. And Vyutkramat in the reverse direction, Kumbha Simbayoho for Aquarius and uh, Leo, you count in the reverse direction. So here the system, now this is the perhaps the Nakpachita.
Right.
Going ahead, we will see something else again, and that is where the confusion is there. It is not still clear. Everybody thinks what he thinks right is right, and they may be right. Even Brhat Parashara again says the same thing. Meshadi 3 minutes. Now comes something which is at the end of it. So you pick up from somewhere else, and then you will have to apply it here. That is where the, because the second opinion we will talk about. And that's why the after this I have given a diagram to make it easier to understand. Mesha 3 Bhav. So 3 count 3. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Padam Oje. Count from Mesha. Same thing is said in the second chapter. Third Pada. 29 Sutra of Jaimini. Now if Sutra is there, it has to come one after other. But here again, that like the Sarvatra Savarna will come later on, which should have come earlier. So he says then Oja should be counted like this, but how every Pada, what we know, always we talk about Pada in astrology. So anything broken into 4 pieces, one piece is Pada.
Right.
So from Mesha, every 3, to make 4 padas of 3 rashis each.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Right.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These are the 4 sections.
Yes, sir.
Again from Mesha.
Right.
This is what he said. Okay. So what is to be done? Then first pada is Oja, that is odd. Second is all those 3 rashis are supposed to be even rashis.
Right.
Okay. And that is where you will again see the Leo comes in the Samapada.
Right.
Isn't it?
Right.
Whereas again Aquarius goes to the Samapada. So it does fit in with the Vruddhakarika in some ways.
Okay.
Isn't it? Also you will find that Taurus and Scorpio go to the Vishamapada. And that is the basis of assuming that that is why, though they are, the even rashis, that is Taurus and Scorpio, they should be counted in the regular one. And so this does fit in with the Nakvachita, sometimes not.
Sometimes not. Right.
You are getting the point.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, now this is also told in the, just take the earlier slide. This comes Panchame Padakrama Prak. So the Panchame is again now interpreted in the manner of Katapayadi, and so Padakramat. So they say for Chara Dasha, this is how you should use. This is the system that you should use. And then they are saying that in the Padakrama, look at the 9th bhava. And if that 9th bhava falls in the Vishamapada or Samapada, according to that, start counting from the Lagna. So now you have got the greatest confusion in Jaimini coming up here. So
yes, sir.
And that's why there are so many, beg your pardon.
I just wanted to say that, sir, Jaimini Sutrams people say is easy, or the writer himself has said that it's very easy, it's a few lines, but then as it is unrevealing itself, or as you're teaching us, it does not seem very easy. It means
no, not at all. No, sometimes I do say that when they are talking about easy, they are talking to somebody of a very higher level of understanding. Like the sage Parashara was telling to sage Jaimini. Maitreya. And he calls him the greatest among Brahmins.
Okay.
This is opinion of Parashara, the Pravartaka, about his own, disciple. So they could understand. Now there are 2 ways of looking at it. Some say no, Charadashas, this does not apply to Charadasha because the Vishamapada and Samapada should come.
Right.
And Parashara also seems to think like that. But why is always a problem. It will always remain a problem. So in Charadasha interpretation also people have different views. Some people think that this is Chara Paryaya Dasha, the alternate to the Charadasha. And that is why I generally don't want to get into Jaimini much, because the learned will
Have
perhaps
their
criticize
opinion.
me for giving a different opinion, but this is how it is. So
Right.
when we say so then okay. So we go to the next thing.
Right.
There are many riddles in Jaimini, believe me.
I thoroughly, after today's class, I totally believe you that there are many riddles.
Many riddles. Now what they are talking about, how these Charadashas are to be counted, calculated. Nathanta Sama Prayana, which means any Rashi, look at where its Lord is placed, count from that Rashi to this Lord. Don't count from 1 to 4, that will be 3. So 1 to 4 minus 1. Because the Rashi itself, if the Lord is occupying the Rashi, then you have to assume that it is 12 years. So from Rashi to
Aquarius.
Lord you count, and whatever is that distance between the two will be the Dasha of that Rashi.
Okay.
So what happens is, when there are planets who own two bhavas, two Rashis, then naturally there will be difference in the
2 years.
Rashi Dashas of
Yes.
those two sides.
Right.
Again, generally one will be odd and another will be even.
Right.
Usually, that is what happens when planets own two Rashis. So the count would also be forward or reverse. Isn't it? Then, the Karika says ki if the planet owning that Rashi is in exaltation, you must add 1 year to it.
Okay.
By implication, if it is in debility,
You must
you
subtract 1
deduct
year.
1 year from it.
Yeah.
So if it is exalted and you add 1, so it is obvious that converse must hold true. If it is in
Yes.
debility, you deduct 1.
Yes.
But the problem is, in that case, sometimes there cannot be 13 years in a dasha. And it is quite possible the exalted planet, but exalted planet cannot occupy own house except Mercury.
Yes.
So if in Mercury case you take 13 years, that would contradict the next sutra, which says Yavad Vivekam Ampriti Bhanam. In this manner, every Rashi will have maximum of 12 years, and since there are 12 Rashis, it will be 144. Viveka, when we interpret it in the Katapayadi manner, comes to 144. Ya, Ra, La, Va. So first word is 4, second word is 4, and last is Ka, which is the first consonant.
Right.
So it is 441. Reverse it becomes 144. 144 divided by 12, that is the variable, and so you get. So you have to understand what they are talking about. Now this has also been interpreted to mean that you divide the Rashi Dasha by 12 to get period of the Antardashas. But I think what he is saying is pretty clear. But that is also not wrong, because there is another Vruddha Karika. Now these Vruddha Karikas and Parashara, you will have to always go look at all those things to try to understand what is happening. Then he Krutva Arkadha Rashi Dasham Rashi Mukti Kramas Vadet. So what he is saying is what is Rashi Dasha? Arka is 12. Arka is sun, but sun represents figure 12. These here Vruddha Karikas many a times use the Bhuta Sankhya.
Okay.
So Bhuta means anything which is live or animate or inanimate, and so Arka always represents 12, or Surya if they say, then you have to understand it is 12. So divide it by 12, Rashi Dasha, and then Rashi's Bhukti, that is the Antardasha, will come in order. This is what the Karakas says, and perhaps this is also the meaning of same, because the sutras have to be concise. In very short words, you have to explain so many things. Now the question is, at one place they say ki divide them by 9. So what is right is a problem. That is why we depend on Vruddha Karikas many a times, or on Parashar, to find out exactly what is being said. And this is how you have to calculate the Chara dashas. And then there are another problem, like as I said, look at the 9th house, see whether it is Samapada or Vishampada, and then do the count.
So, sir, Chara Dasha is not easy to understand.
No, it's not easy because it has different interpretations. K.N. Rao looks at it in a slightly different fashion. I think Raghavendra looks at it in a different fashion. Parashar has a different view of it. And all learned are like, you have to respect everybody, find out for yourself which suits you. And that which suits you must accept, because that has to give result. Ultimately, the aim of astrology is to provide relief to the distressed.
That's a very beautiful statement. You don't go by who's correct or who's wrong. You don't need to get yourself.
Find out yourself.
Yeah.
That is what everybody must do, because there are so many texts, and everybody will have a different view. Like when we come to the next slide, if people like it, we will continue. I also find it very good. So then we will come to the Pada, the Arudha Pada, and there will be, you will see that Arudha Pada is there. But the learned Kalidasa says you must look at Pada till the 8th house only, and not further. So you will have to understand that it is a complex subject. That is why I normally try to remain away from it. But since you said, I said, okay, I try to tell what I know, or how I look at it.
Yes, sir.
And that is why I after the second chapter, then things start about death and everything. I'm not very.
No, sir,
I never talk about.
We are not.
I don't like it. That is not my domain. That is domain of the good Lord, exactly. And let him decide. So this is how it works out. There are umpteen number of dashas and umpteen number of review, but generally Chara dasha is thought to be more near the accuracy. So, because even in Parashara gives how to interpret the Nakshatra Dasha, and then only talks about interpretation of Chara Dasha in a specific manner. It doesn't talk about other Dasha. So, I think he is right. Yeah.
So, that means he also is knowing that it's a very, Rishi Parashar also knows that it's a difficult.
Yeah, he tells that I am telling you so many Dashas. According to me, Vinshottari is the Mukhya Mata. He says Vinshottari Mukhya Mata. Kechit Ashtottari. Some are saying that Ashtottari is good, some say the Shodoshottari is good. I think because even the sage knew that this is an opinion. So he gives his opinion. And period. I think we should also learn to do that. But maybe at my age it is easy to do that. Beautiful. This is it. I think that was the last slide, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so
I tried to create that visual so that it is easier to understand.
Right.
So you can understand the green padas, I think, are the Vishama, and that is easy to understand. And that is again why the count reverses.
Right.
You can see what Rashis are coming there. The reverse does come up. Okay. But its application is different. Here he is saying very clearly what is to be done. But later on, then he says, no, look at it from the Padakrama. So maybe it is a variation of Chara Dasha. Who knows?
So we'll have to.
To be very honest, I use Vinshottari Dasha myself. I mean, I must always be honest in whatever I tell. That is my way of saying. But I know those dashas, and that is the difference of opinion within the learner, and everybody is open to his own interpretation.
So finally, one question before we leave this section. Sir, can we use Jaimini Sutrams in the sense the pearls of what Jaimini Maharshi has told us in the Parashari method also?
Yes, why not? I do it regularly. Some of his, aphorisms are there like Chandrayana Eka Putraha. If moon aspects, then there will be one progeny. I
Okay.
find I can use it directly on the Lagna. Even Jaimini tells that. See, always people think that Chara Karakas can only be used in Karakansha Kundali, and then there are difference of opinion is what is Karakansha Kundali or in Dreshkana. But he says Lagnatva, Amshadva, Dreshkanadva. You can use it directly on the Lagna, the way Parashari we practice. You can also use it on Amsha, that is Karakansha, or you can even use it in the Dreshkana Kundali.
Okay.
So Sage himself has told you that these three methods are there, and you find out which suits you. He has implied that because this is Sutra, he would not go on telling at length like I am saying, because I am not a sage, they were sages. So I think it would be a better idea if people also read Brihat Parashari and other standard texts, so that they try to understand what more has been said. Some yogas are there which appear both in Parashari and Jaimini, and they are good. Shukrena Vyavahita Garbhanashaha. Venus in the third or 11th or even the 8th can indicate one abortion to the mother, Jataka's mother. No, this I find works very well on the Lagna chart itself. I don't have to go to Karakamsha. So I accept it.
That would be three.
Or Leukoderma, Shukre Chape, Chandradrushte, Shweta Kushtaha. So yeah, it works. Even on Lagna. So what is the harm? Why not use it? Sometimes it can be used on Karakamsha Lagna. Use it on Karakamsha. I most of the time I will say use it on both. But even in Navamsha you can see that, because sometimes as we go to Karakamsha and Swamsha, the complications will become even more clear. So I don't mind. I mean, there's no point in fighting that this is the gold standard. Even gold is not 100% gold. So what's the harm? I mean, sorry, I'm a bit blunt at my age. Perhaps I can afford to be blunt now.
Thank
When
you.
young, I would not generally talk like this.
Yeah,
So you have to pardon me. The listeners have to pardon me for being blunt. But
no, sir, it's a pleasure to listen to you, because then we've heard so many beautiful. Just now we heard that if the Venus is in the third, 11th, or in the 8th, then the mother can have an abortion, and of the Jataka, which are something that probably is going to stick on to my memory forever, because they're very clear, crisp dictums that.
Very clear. And it's a very small sutra.
Yes.
Easy to remember. So I do use some of them, and I never hide that I use them. Because though I generally go with the traditional astrology, I use it because this is also part of traditional
astrology. Yes.
Unfortunately, we have that habit of creating division between castes and whatever and things. Our ancients never believed in that. For them, everything was one and the same. Everything has Lord's Amsha in him. So there is no difference. Or woman and man are different. They never thought like that. No, nothing. So that's how this goes on, and I'm taking much of your time. But I think we must be very clear in explaining what is.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We'll meet you again with another beautiful topic, Aruda Lagna next. Aruda next.
Parasa, yeah. Pada Lagna, as they call it.
Pada Lagna. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.